Hello friends, welcome to the channel. In this video, we'll be doing one more exercise on Para Jumbles, which are asked for CAT and other management exams. So I hope you have seen or watched all the previous exercises on Para Jumbles so that you have to get the fundamentals right. Only then if you look at the or try to tackle the advanced level questions, if your fundamentals are not correct, you may be having difficulty. So I would suggest that you watch all the previous videos on Para Jumbles first, then you come to this one so that you will be able to catch up with the explanations without a problem. So we'll go to the exercises straight away. This is the first question. Okay, so the passage is talking about the concept of information or intellectual property. You might have understood it by reading the statements. And what you have to understand here is what is information revolution, which is given in the last statement. Information revolution. So what is a revolution? Any process by which a lot of drastic changes happen is called a revolution. So information revolution means a revolution pertaining to information or revolution pertaining to knowledge. So it says that the last statement is saying that the 20th century is could be summed up as the age of information revolution. Means 20th century was the period when a lot of changes or a lot of drastic changes happened in the way information was spread or information was disseminated to the people. So that is why this is termed as the age of information revolution. So that is the only thing that you may have difficulty in understanding. All other things are very simple. It is talking about intellectual property, etc., etc., and what is intellectual property. So how can we form the sentence pairs or the sequences? See, it is statement B is talking about what is it exactly is intellectual property. C is telling us control over access to certain types of knowledge information is referred as intellectual property. So this could be taken as a question and an answer. Then further explanation. The concept is termed intellectual because it applies to products of the mind. So any person who produces something from his mind, it is called intellectual property, and it is also called property because it belongs to him. He has labored or he has done a lot of hard work using his mind. That is why his mental efforts have produced this property. So that is why it becomes his own property. So that is why it is becoming his own intellectual property. So further clarification on intellectual property is given in option or statement A. So you may have we can have B, C, A as a sequence, right? B is the question, C is the answer, and then A is the further explanation. That way you can think about it. Then how can you fit this one? The 20th century could be summed up as age of information revolution. Knowledge is free, but its flow is restricted. So the 20th century is the age of was the age of information revolution, and but knowledge was free, but its flow was restricted. So you can say that EDBCA. So first we talk about how 20th century is the age of information revolution where knowledge is free but its flow is restricted. Then you talk about what exactly is intellectual property. So do you feel any problem here? First we are talking about 20th century being the age of information revolution, then the knowledge being free and its flow is restricted. Then suddenly we jump to what exactly is intellectual property. So there is some logical link missing here. If you go with this sequence, there is a logical link missing here. Why we are talking suddenly about intellectual property after talking about the knowledge becoming free but its flow being restricted? So you have to think again. So there is a problem here. So ED is correct, right? ED is correct because he is talking about the age of information revolution, 20th century. Then information knowledge is free, but its flow is restricted. Then what can you say? How, what is that restriction? Control over access to certain type of knowledge and information is referred to as intellectual property. So once we say that knowledge is free but its flow is restricted, then we can say what is that restriction. That restriction is called intellectual property, because knowledge is free, its flow is restricted. How it is restricted? There are certain controls over certain type of knowledge, so that knowledge cannot be given freely to the people. That is called intellectual property. Then we say what exactly is intellectual property. So once we introduce the concept of intellectual property, we try to understand what exactly. So the word exactly is very important here. What exactly is intellectual property? So here we have discussed or introduced the concept of intellectual property. Then we have to say what exactly is this intellectual property. Then we give the explanation. The intellectual property is any property or anything that is produced by a person using his mental efforts, becoming his private property, and you cannot have free access to that property. That is why it is called intellectual property. So that is why EDCBA is the correct sequence, not the sequence of EDBCA. So many people on first reading, we can understand that BCA will seem like a very good sequence, and then we will attach ED before it and form EDBCA as the obvious answer, but that's not correct. You have to, I have told you previously, you have to rearrange the sentences in your mind, see whether the logical flow is correctly coming, or whether there is anything missing, or any link that is missing in the logical flow. If there is a link missing, then you have to rework. So that is why we have reworked, and we have found that EDCBA option 4 is the answer, not option 3. Other options are, you need not have to bother because they are completely illogical. Once we have found the sequence, then you don't have to worry about the other things. So option 4 will be the answer. So once you have arrived at the answer, you have to reorganize the sentences. This you have to do in your mind. You have to develop that skill over a period of time by doing a lot of exercises. Then you will find that 20th century is the age of information revolution. Knowledge is free, but its flow is restricted. What is a restriction? There is certain control over certain types of knowledge. That is why it is called restricted, and that control is called intellectual property. But what exactly is this? This is it is termed intellectual because it is produced by the mind, and it is called property because a person is producing it, so it is his own property. So this is how the sequence comes. I hope it is clear. So these kind of tricky questions will be there. It might seem very obvious but very simple, but it may not be so simple. So when a question, any question in CAT or other top level management exams appear to be simple, you have to be very cautious, because generally they don't ask this kind of simple straightforward questions. So you have to be cautious, you have to be on your guard and recheck your answer. Only when you are completely sure about your answer, you should go for it. Okay, so go to the next one. I'll give you some meanings. Scouse means searching. High and low means all the places. So scouse, high and low means, say it is searching in all the places, or doing a lot of effort, or trying to do a lot of things, etc., etc. So scouring high and low means making a lot of effort. That is the meaning. Just to turn out a positive top line. What is a positive top line? Top line in business means the gross sales of a company is called top line. So positive top line means the sales should be positive. How it can be termed positive? When the sales of a current of a year is greater than the sales of the previous year, then we say that it is a positive top line. So here Hindustan Lever Limited is try making a lot of effort just to turn out a positive top line. So they are trying to maintain a positive growth in sales year after year. Whereas Amway, what Amway is doing, scorching ever upwards. Scorching means moving fast is scorching. The process of moving very fast is called scorching. So Amway is moving very fast upward, and it could be the second largest FMCG. What is the meaning of FMCG? All business management aspirants should know the meaning of or the full form of FMCG. FMCG stands for fast moving consumer goods, that is the FMCG. And reckons means things or states thinking. Reckoning Amver's farmer's country means he is thinking or he is of the opinion. Then the second statement, the pace is dizzying. Contrast means difference. Pace is dizzying. Pace means speed. Dizzying means it gives your head a light feeling, or it makes you feel dizzy. It makes you feel like you are going to faint. That is called dizzy. So when you are at the top of a very tall building and looking downwards, that view is called dizzying. You feel lightheaded. You feel like your head is spinning. That is called dizzying. Then what is eating others' lunch means? Going into another person's territory, or taking away another person's piece of the business. That is called eating others' lunch. Then gets to sleep a lot easier in statement D. Means he is sleeping more comfortably than Hindustan Lever Chief MS Banga. What is the figure? This is a figurative statement. What is the actual meaning? The MD of Amway has a much more comfortable life than the MD of Hindustan Lever. That is the meaning. So by reading the statements, you can understand that the author is comparing the business performance of two companies. Both of them are FMCG companies. One is Hindustan Lever Limited, another one is Amway. And it from the passage you can understand that Hindustan Lever is trying very hard to maintain a positive sales figure over the years, over the previous year. Means they are finding it very difficult to maintain a positive sales figure, whereas Amway is their business is increasing very fast, and they could be the country's second largest FMCG player as per the former country chief. And it is saying that both the companies are having different markets. They are not trying to compete with each other, and India has enormous potential. So these things are also given. So basically these companies are not competing with each other. And one more thing is stated in the last paragraph, last sentence, means there is no comparison between Amway and Hindustan Lever, because in absolute terms that's not even. So what is not even, we don't know. Some figure of Amway is not even as large as the ad budget of Hindustan Lever. Means some business figure of Amway is not even equal to the advertisement budget of Hindustan Lever. So the advertisement of Hindustan Lever Limited is much greater than the some figure of, we don't know what is that figure. That's not even. So we don't know what is the represented by this, that. But anyway, it is not even as large as the advertisement budget of Hindustan Lever. That is stated. So basically, or in simple terms, what it means is that uh, these companies are cannot be compared actually, because Hindustan Lever is a giant, very big company. Amway is not that big, but and the Amway chief, even then Amway chief is having Amway MD is having a very comfortable uh, job, whereas Hindustan Lever chief is having a very tough job. This is because the Hindustan Lever is finding it difficult to maintain a positive top line, whereas Amway's business is increasing very fast, and they are not competing with each other. All these things are given. Now you have to find the sequence. So first you have understood the context, then finding the sequence, you have to search for it very carefully, or try to form sentence pairs. So which is the best sentence pair you can form here? See, the best sentence pair will be B and A. Why? B says that yet business is about growth and the contrast in pace is deceiving. So you before that, all the statements are when you read all the statements individually, none of the statements seem like a good opening statement, because all statements seem to be interdependent, or they are talking about some or each statement is referring to something that is stated in the previous statement. So that is why none of the statements are standalone statements. Standalone statements can be good opening statements, but here there are no standalone statements. All the statements are talking about some idea that might have been stated in the previous sentence. So let us forget about finding an opening sentence. Let us form sentence pairs. So what is the sentence pair you can form? Obviously B and A. Why? It says that B says a yet means but. Business is about growth and contrasting pace is deceiving. So even with all those things, business is means you have to grow, and the difference in the change in the business growth is or speed in the business growth is very deceiving. Means you are comparing the business growth of Hindustan Lever and Amway, and the Amway is growing much faster and Hindustan Lever is growing much slower. So that is indicated by this statement. But means something else is stated before that. But business is about growth means something that is there which is not concerned with business, but you have to grow, and the contrast, the speed with which both companies are growing or the difference in the speed is very much deceiving. So once you state this, then you have to give the or corroborate, or you have to substantiate this statement by talking about the difference in the speed with which these companies are growing. So this is talking about the difference in the speed, and option A talks about the how that difference in the speed is happening. Hindustan Lever is trying very hard just to maintain a positive top line, whereas Amway is growing very fast. So this is the meanings, and it could be the second largest FMCG player. So player in the country. So that is why first you say B, then you say A. So first you say that business should be, all businesses should grow, and there is a very big difference in the speed with which both these companies are growing. Then you substantiate or support that statement B by talking about the differences in the speed of growth. Hindustan Lever finding it very difficult to grow, whereas Amway is growing very fast. So BA should be a sentence pair. And then we talk about what is this yet. Means something that is not concerned with business, or something that is not about the contrast in the speed of business. So what could be that statement? That statement is C, because it says that they are not competing with each other, their markets do not overlap, and India has a lot of potential. These are all things which are positive for both the companies. So this you should say first. So CBA. So you can say that both companies are not competing with each other. India has got a lot of potential for both the companies to grow. Still, business is about growth, and there is a very big difference in the growth speed in which both the companies are growing. Then you talk about how that difference is happening. So CBA will be a sequence. Then how can you place ED? ED. So that is the next thing. Where should ED come? So you can say that William Pickney, MD and CN get William. That means the MD of Amway is having a much peaceful life than the MD of MS Hindustan Lever. How he is having a peaceful life? Because even though the businesses are not even comparable, that is E. He says that the business Amway business is not comparable with the Hindustan Lever business, but even then Amway's MD is having a very peaceful life, whereas Hindustan Lever's MD is not having a peaceful life. So that is why if you state ED before that, it becomes logical. You say that when you talk about two companies, Hindustan Lever and Amway, they are not even comparable, because Hindustan Lever is a very big company. This is implied in option E. Then you say that, but yes, even though Hindustan Lever is a much bigger company compared to Amway, the MD of Amway is having a peaceful life than the MD of Hindustan Lever. So then you can these things. Then you say that they are not competing with each other. They have, both of them have enormous potential to grow. Still, there is the difference in the pace of growth is very much shocking, and why that difference is there is given in A. So EDCBA is the sequence that you can form, and the key is the sequence CBA. CB, if you found CBA, your answer is there. You see any other option where CBA becomes a sequence? No, there is no other option. So even if you are not sure about the placement of E and D, once you found the sequence CBA, your answer will be very clear. Option 1 will be your answer, because no other option is having CBA as a sequence. So once you have the rearranged sentences, you can say that in absolute terms. That's still we don't know what is this. That's correct, because all the sentences are interlinked, or maybe this passage might have been extracted from the middle of another passage, or these sentences are extracted from the middle of a passage. That is why there is something being referred to here. Some figure of Amway is being referred to here. That figure is not even as large as the advertisement budget of Hindustan Lever. So these kind of issues you might have in your actual exam, where all the sentences will not be standalone sentences. So here you have to use the logic and think about the sentences being extracted from the middle of a paragraph. You make sequences and then find out which is the logically correct placement. So then you talk about William Techney, the MD of Amway is having a peaceful life than Hindustan Lever MD, and you say that not that one is eating the other's lunch. So don't think that these people are competing with each other. Their markets are not overlapping, and they have a lot of potential. But still, business is about growth, and companies should grow. But here there is a market difference in the speed with which the companies are growing. Hindustan Lever is trying to very hard to just to maintain a positive top line, where Amway is growing very fast. So this is how the sequence is becomes logical. EDCBA will be the answer. Okay, go to the next one. What is the meaning of the expression turning the screws, making something very tight? So turning the screws on their advertising budgets means they are not very much willing to spend a lot of money for advertising. So they try to reduce the advertising budget. That is why that is the meaning of the expression turning the screws on their advertising budget. And ever increasing bang from ad buck means they wanted more fees or more benefit out of their advertisement. Buck means money. So ad buck means when they are spending money for advertisements, they need more benefit out of it, or they wanted more returns from the money they are spending for ads. So the basically the passage, the sentence is talking about clients reducing the budget given for advertising, and then they expecting a more benefit and more advantage out of the money they are spending for advertising. Then what is a screw up? Anything that goes wrong or goes completely bad is called a screw up. All right, so here from the sentences you can understand that we are talking about the growing significance of research in advertising, right? It says that the advertising is becoming more research oriented, because the clients are now not willing to spend too much money on advertising, and they want more advantage or benefit out of the money they are spending for advertising. So research becomes very important. Previously research was not important, and there is an example given where this particular person called Sheila Befield, she was who was working in a advertising agency or an advertising company, and previously she was given this smallest cabin means what? She was having the least important job. So when a person is given a smallest and remotest cabin in the offices, means she has the least important job. So this was the situation previously, but when the client started reducing their advertising budget and started expecting more benefit out of the money they are spending for advertising, research became very much important. And then research, she is now handling a lot of money for research, and then a lot of data they are doing. All these things are given. So from this we can see the very easily we can see that E is the opening sentence, because it talks about something that happened in the past. Media 12 years ago. So when she started working in the research, media research in advertising 12 years ago, this was a very insignificant job, or a job that was not at all important. That is why she got the smallest and the remotest cabin in the offices of major advertising agencies. Means this job was not considered important at all. So we are talking about the historical fact. Then we talk about but over the years, means this was the situation 12 years ago, but over the years what has happened, the client started reducing their advertising budget, and they started expecting more uh, benefit or more fees or bang from their money they are spending on advertising. So the research became very important. So the person who is putting out the most effective advertising is the became the researcher. So this is how research has a researcher, and research has become very important in advertising now. So E and A talks about two contrasting ideas. What was the situation previously? What is the situation at present? Then what can you say? What can you say? Then you can say this is the key. For instance, so here we have talked about the researcher becoming very much an important figure in putting or out the most effective advertising, and C is giving you an example. For instance, now Byfield heads consumer insight. Consumer insight means consumer research. So she is now heading the consumer insight department of WPP worldwide, and she is handling $16 billion of budget with her each year. So there is more than $16 billion of advertising spend. Advertising spend means advertising spend at stake. At stake means it is given to her. So this is at stake means this is what she has to play with to get benefit out of it. That is called at stake. So here $16 billion of budget she is handling every year. So this is an example of the growing influence of, or the growing importance of, a researcher in advertising. So you can say that C is the next sentence in the sequence. After we talk about how research is becoming prominent, then we give an example for researcher becoming prominent by talking about Shayla Bayfield, how she is now handling around $16 billion of budget. And then what can you say? When you have a lot of responsibilities, or when you have a lot of budget, you have a lot of risk also. That risk is given here. When screw ups happen, it's not usually become the, because the consumer has not been researched adequately. So whenever there are any mistakes or screw ups, it is always because of the lack of research. So that is why they will be blamed. And then you say that we have, sometimes we may be lacking in insight. So a lot of data will be there, but if they don't do their research properly, this thing happens. So EACBD, this should be the sequence. So first we talk about the how research was not at all significant in advertising previously, and over the years how it has become very important. Then you give an example of its importance by talking about the budget that she is handling, Shaila Bayfield is handling now. Then about the flip side, or about the negative side of it, means when you have a lot of budget at your disposal, screw ups can happen. When screw ups happen, it is because of lack of research. And it says that she is giving the reason. The data might be there, but the insights that require the proper research might be lacking. That is what leads to the screw up. So she is giving you an reason why screw ups are going to might happen. So first we say that screw ups happen, it is because of the lack of consumer research, and how that lack of consumer research is happening is given in D. So EACBD will be the sequence. So once you have found out the sequence EAC, then you may not have a problem, because a DB cannot be at both ends, it will not be logical. So the only two options where EAC is appearing is 1 and 2, but in 2 D and B are at opposite ends of the sequence, which is not be made it will not be logical. So we can say that EACBD, the option 1 is the only answer available. So this is another method by which you can confirm your answer. Once you have confirmed, you rearrange the sentences in your mind, then you will get this kind of paragraph. When she began research, what was the situation, but over the years what has become the situation, and the example of the importance of research, the budget she is handling at present, and when screw-ups happen, it's because there is lack of research, and by we have in order, but sometimes we may be lacking in insights. So these are the things that are given. So EACBD. So I hope this is clear. Now hope the exercise has been helpful to you in your preparation. It has given you some insights. If you have any further questions or doubts on the exercises that we are discussing, or any other doubts regarding ERC or interview preparation or GD or any current affairs, general awareness, etc., you can join the WhatsApp group, and we will be doing a lot of discussions. Any doubts can be raised in the WhatsApp group. I'll be giving the replies to the doubts. So the link for the WhatsApp group is given in the description. Please join the group. We'll see you later. If you have found the video useful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.